Hello, hello, and welcome to NJ Thrive's Small Business Webinars. Today is Tuesday, November 21st, and you are attending one of our weekly webinars created to help New Jersey small business owners like yourself start, grow, and thrive. I am your host, Uzma Sheikh. I'm a consultant here at NJSBDC, and if you're new here, thank you for attending. We look forward to helping you in your small business. If you have been attending our Tuesday sessions, we appreciate your support. And if you're new here and you're wondering what NJSBDC is, that stands for New Jersey Small Business Development Centers Network. We're a statewide program powered by the SBA, stands for Small Business Administration, and partners like NJBAC, the Business Action Center in New Jersey, to help small businesses in New Jersey with three key things: no cost small business consulting, training and events starting at $0, just like this one that you're attending, and exclusive small business resources. If you look on the map there, you'll see the state of New Jersey divided into all the counties. And where you see the small SBDC logos is where our regional centers are located. You can receive counseling in person, or virtual. So if you'd like to go in person, you can go to our website, njsbdc.com, request counseling, and you'll see where our regional centers are located in those counties. While we do this, I know we have about 47 attendees today. Thank you all for coming and attending. Please let us know in the chat where you're from, who you are, what you do, what your small business is about, or because we're doing how to register business, tell us if you have any ideas and what ideas you have. So we'd love to know. And you are attending how to start a business with $0 NJSBDC support. That is $0. You read that right. It's a multi-session webinar series created to provide startup assistance and help New Jersey's aspiring entrepreneurs start, grow, and thrive. So if you're familiar with NJ Thrive's Thursdays, this is just a different thing on how to start a business with our assistance. Different than our usual Thursday topics. And the next thing that we have to tell our small business community is an exciting day coming up. So as you know, after Thanksgiving, Black Friday, and there's a Shop Small Business Saturday, which is this Saturday on November 25th. So shop small, you're a small business owner, and you'd love to, have the community support, the small business community here in New Jersey. So that's coming up. That's exciting. If you have initiatives or you'd like to do something, please let us know on what you have coming up or what you plan to do for that day. And moving on, we have agenda. We have the agenda. We have some headlines. Then we have our speaker presentation, and then we have the Q&A session. So let's get into the headlines. These are basically some news articles, press releases from the small business community that we like to highlight. So the first one we have is from ROI-NJ. The article is about New Jersey Bankers Charitable Foundation recognized for supporting local veterans. And in that picture, you see over there Kelly Brosna, who's our state director and CEO of the network, and presenting Mike Afuso, the CEO and president of the Bankers Association, with a certificate of recognition. Very cool, very good article. And if you would like to receive services from New Jersey Bankers Association or be a part of that, then check out this article and how to go to the website. Next is a press release from NJEDA. NJEDA board approves program to expand access to capital for emerging developers, released today. And they approved a new $20 million pilot program to support rising real estate developers. The Emerging Developer Fund will help developers gain access to capital and build additional capacity to expand their existing portfolio. So if this is something of interest to you, then please check out this press release. All the links for the headlines that I'm sharing are linked and shared in the chat. The final headline that I had to share is a press release, again, from the JEDA. New Aspire rules aim to strengthen affordable housing and expand eligibility approved by NJEDA board. Released November 17th. So they approved the adoption of new rules for the Aspire program. If you don't know what it is linked to this press release, aimed to spur development and increase affordable housing in communities across the state. This is where the new rules are stated. So increased project awards, transformative projects, affordability controls, and so on and so forth. Again, the links are shared in the chat. All right. Those are the headlines. Some rules that you have to keep in mind as our audience as we go through this webinar. If you have questions, please type them in the Q&A chat. I see responses coming in the chat. Thank you for that. So if you have questions, then there's a box for Q&A and you can type your questions. So as our speaker is presenting, then any question comes up, feel free to ask in the Q&A box. Try not to ask them in the chat box because they'll get lost with things that we share or comments that come in. If you'd like to receive these slides, then please complete a brief survey and you'll receive the link on the next page. And please keep in mind that this webinar is being recorded, so you will be able to look at this recording in 1 to 2 business days on our website or our YouTube channel. And now presenting Ms. Vanessa Schwartz, who is our NJSBDC consultant. Welcome, Vanessa. This is our session 3. We're going strong. And we're going strong with our audience too, who is here every week. And we always support, love that. So please go ahead, share your screen, and we're excited to hear from you.
Thank you so much. Yes, let me share my screen and we will get started. Okay, well, thank you so much. Thank you again, Uzma, for all that important information. And thank you, everybody, for joining, which I believe must be quite difficult on this very busy week. But I'm so glad to have you here, and I'm happy to be speaking about the topic. So, my name is Vanessa Schwartz. This is what to know about starting your business and creating a limited liability company, otherwise known as the LLC. So, whether you are someone who wants to just take your hobby to the next level, or you're interested in pursuing that side hustle, or maybe a professional in your own space and believe the time is right to venture into entrepreneurship, making the time to educate yourself and the process, the costs, legal requirements, and any tax consequences. All of this is critical and really can make the difference in terms of being successful or not successful in what you're doing. And of course, most importantly, knowing that the NJSBDC is here to mentor you, to assist you, and to guide you through all steps, namely to help you actually create and register that LLC. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So, we're going to discuss a little bit about business structures, a little bit about the formation and registration, mostly for the LLC. We're going to discuss New Jersey state regulations, some additional ones that exist um, when you open a business in New Jersey, a little bit about funding and cash management as a new business owner, and what additional needs that may come into play as you're starting your business. We want to be with you here through your next steps, through your opportunities, through your growth. And all of these are topics that any counselor here at our network would be more than happy to assist you with as you go about your journey into business ownership. So, starting with business structures, we want to start with just a little bit about what the different types are available to you here in New Jersey. You may hear terminology being passed around, and it's very important that you understand the differences between the different names of business structures. Now, the sole proprietorship is the least cumbersome, it's the least structured. You might hear that get passed around. Someone may say, I'm a sole proprietorship. And basically, just so you know what that means, it means that you have applied for a trade name at your county clerk's office within your municipality. Every county has a small business office with the county clerk and an application for a trade name. The name will be unique within your county. It's relatively inexpensive. The one time fee is usually between $50 and $60. As a sole proprietor, you can use your own social security number as your tax ID, or very often now we do encourage, even if only a sole proprietor, that perhaps going to the IRS and getting an EIN, which stands for Employer Identification Number, makes a lot of sense in that by getting the IRS tax ID number, you're perhaps um, shielding yourself from additional risk that there could be when you're throwing a social security number around. So there's some protection there by applying for an EIN, but you do not have to as a sole proprietor. Your personal banking accounts are acceptable for use with your business. You can deposit money earned from a job can go right into a personal bank account. And tax implications are very simple. You're allowed as a sole proprietor to take any income that is earned from the business, income meaning sales less than any expenses that are incurred, and file a Schedule C attachment to your personal income tax. Basically, that'll take the net income from your business and it'll roll it up into your total tax return, and your taxes will be hashed out in your one return. We have no legal separation between the assets of the owner and the business. Anything that you do within your business could potentially subject you to liability issues, and it potentially impact your personal assets. So that's the downside, no liability protection. Example, if you decide to do a delivery business and you were to be transporting something from, say, point A to point B, and you were to, God forbid, get into a car accident, if you were to be sued, your personal liability is at risk, your personal assets, your home. You have no separation between your business and yourself. So that is the downside. Moving on, now we have some liability protection. The two business structures that are most commonly, I think, discussed when you get into a more structured business environment is the LLC and the corporation. What's nice about the LLC is that it's minimal work, cost, effort to form an LLC, but it does provide you some limited liability. In New Jersey, it is $128 to form your LLC and then $75 a year to maintain it. That keeps your business in good standing. It's an annual process. Right around the time of your formation, you'll log on to the portal, you'll pay your $75. It's called filing an annual report. It sounds very scary and intimidating. It is merely logging on and putting your credit card information in and paying your dues. So it really isn't anything related to taxes or reporting of what you're doing. It's paying your dues and it keeps the company in good standing. The LLC is required to have an EIN tax number. You are to go to the IRS. It is free, does not cost anything to get an EIN. A unique tax number will be assigned to you to match the name, the legal name of your LLC. Also, I forgot to mention with an LLC, you will pick a unique business name. It has to be unique in the state, not just within the county. You are required at this level now to have separate banking accounts. Uh, Personal will be one account, and then you will be required to open up a separate business banking account to basically handle the flow of money in and out of your business. And as a business owner, an LLC business owner, you are allowed to choose your taxation method. We'll get into it a little bit more in the presentation, and it is something that we can talk to you in more detail when we counsel you one-on-one. But just know that as an LLC owner, you can choose your taxation method depending on your situation. So if you are a single member of the LLC, it's just you, you're the only owner, you are allowed to actually still file that Schedule C that is set up for that gig worker or sole proprietor, which makes life very easy. If there's more than one of you, then the default taxation is a partnership taxation, a method, which is the Form 1065. You are not a partnership, you're still the LLC, but you will use a partnership tax filing process. And then the other option you have as an LLC is at some point you may decide that you wish to wish to change your tax filing from LLC to S corp. It does not mean that you necessarily are an S corp. It just means that the LLC does have the option to file as if it were an S corp. That gets a little more complicated. We can talk about that offline. We will discuss it a little bit more, but just know that you have choices. And once again, you have protection. Most likely, in most cases, your liability is restricted to the assets that are held within your business. So you are protected, your home is protected, your personal accounts are protected. Um, you can't say for sure in any kind of legal situation. Again, God forbid, catastrophic accident, something happens, you're negligent. I would imagine a lawyer can basically see through your limited liability and come after you. So just remember that it offers some protection. It works well for a number of businesses, small and large, honestly, but there are more protected business structures you can choose, such as the corporation. Corporation is your probably your thickest veil of protection, your strongest liability protection. It requires a little bit more time and effort and money to run a corporation. You have bylaws that must be put into place. You are required to put a board of directors together. You are expected to host shareholder meetings. And very oftentimes, you might see a single owner of a business say, I want to do a corporation. Is it silly? Am I going to have a shareholder meeting just with myself? Sort of, yes. You make sure the paperwork shows that you had a meeting with yourself and that you've outlined what you have to outline. It's paperwork, but there are times when a small business may decide to incorporate. And I think mostly you see that when are insurance issues, liability issues. You want a really very structured situation where you're protected to the max, if you will. We see construction businesses. Sometimes general contractors will want to incorporate trucking. If you're in trucking, you drive a truck. Um, there are certain vendors out there that only really want to contract with corporations because of the insurance and liability issues. So one of the downsides sometimes you'll see with a corporation, they're called C corps when we talk about the traditional corporation, is that you could be a small business, but a corporation is subject to a double taxation. When you're a corporation, the corporation is its own person. The corporation files its own separate tax filing and is subject to corporate tax. So there's a corporate tax rate at the end of the day. Your net income is taxed, and what's left is profit that is distributed to the shareholders. Second round of taxation is then the shareholder has to pay taxes on that income. So if you're the only owner of the business, you're a C corp, you have taxes on your net income, and then what's left, you have to pay taxes on your share of the profits. So that's not quite efficient. So what's happened over time, this was now going back, I don't know, maybe 30, 40 years ago, is that the government allowed for C Corps to apply to become S Corps. S Corps are separate filing once you incorporate. It basically, again, indicates a difference in your tax status. Um, it helps companies to avoid the double taxation problem, and S Corps will allow for income to pass through straight to the shareholders, avoiding that corporate tax rate. There are some stipulations to be an S Corp. Um, most small businesses have no issue qualifying to be an S Corp. And so, just the thing to remember about S Corps is LLCs can file as an S Corp for tax purposes, and corporations can file as S Corps for tax purposes. And that is all done through Form 2553 through the IRS. So let's talk about the LLC. That's what we're primarily interested in this presentation. We want you to get it right the first time. We don't want you to pay a third party for what you can and should be able to do yourself with maybe a little hand holding through the SBDC. We will guide you and assist you with the entire process, start to finish. We form the business with you, which is step one. And then we must register the business with the Division of Revenue and Treasury, which is step two. The third step, of course, is always going to the IRS, getting that EIN number, and making sure that that all matches. No cost to the accessing an EIN number, no cost for registering the business, but there is a cost for formation, and we mentioned it earlier. It's $128 to open an LLC in New Jersey, and then there is that $75 a year to maintain it. So we want you to know the terminology. Sole proprietor is what we discussed, but sometimes you'll hear people talk about single member LLCs. That is an LLC with one owner. Member means owner in LLC terminology. You'll want to make sure you familiarize yourself with the NJ portal. This is where all your needs are met. It's where you form, it's where you register, it's where you can obtain a DBA, alternate business name, doing business as. It's where you'll pay your annual dues. It's where you can get a certificate of good standing if you need one of those. It's where you may want to certify yourself as a woman, minority, veteran owned business. It allows you to go to one location and know the rules straight from the government. Understanding your obligations, understanding your legal requirements. It's very important when you're a business owner. Sometimes when you have third parties taking care of this for you, it seems attractive at the time because no one wants to learn the boring stuff, but it does become a problem down the road when you don't know where your paperwork is, you don't know what you did, you think you're registered to do business, but really you only are formed. These third party and even lawyers, accountants, I've noticed you'll hire them to legally form the business for you, but they don't register it for you. They don't even tell you, hey, you have to still register to transact business in New Jersey. And people are left working and operating for years and never realizing that they're never even registered with the state. Where that comes into play and where that's a problem is anytime you want to apply for any sort of assistance, grants, funding, anything that is related to what the state might be offering through its own right, they're going to ask for a business registration certificate. And if you don't have one, you're out. So it's became problematic during COVID when the state was running all the programs that we were trying to assist businesses with. And what we realized is many businesses were never actually legally registered and they were cut out from some funding. And so it's a hard way to learn that you weren't properly set up. So we keep your documents organized. Well, we don't keep them. You will keep your documents organized. We'll tell you how to do that. You want to have your paperwork accessible, hard copy electronically, and you'll want to make sure that you keep your bookkeeping organized. And these are the types of things that we will discuss with you, go over options. Our network offers classes on QuickBooks. Um, and anything you can think of in terms of helping to run your business smoothly, we have mentors here to help and guide you. So, this just is a reminder that once you form your business, your LLC, do not forget to register the company. Now, again, that registration piece of it is primarily for tax purposes. The state wants to know, how do you want to be taxed? Because remember, there's a choice with LLCs. How many members are there? What are their names? What are their addresses? What are their social security numbers? What are you doing that might prompt you to have to pay additional taxes or surcharges? There's regulation in New Jersey. So they want to know what you're doing. And that's what the registration process is for. Again, the step is often overlooked and it can create issues down the road. So I mentioned that sometimes third parties leave the registration step out. And this is something that we do. We will make sure you're formed properly, you're registered properly, and that you're good to go. Now, this is a new point. It wasn't even mentioned in the earlier presentations. This is all coming about now. I guess it's being discussed in more detail. And it's something that the SBDC will be addressing going forward. But just as an FYI, so it's on the slide, there is a new federal requirement coming into play in 2024. It's called the Beneficial Ownership Information Report. You may have started to hear some mumblings and rumblings about it. I myself am just starting to really hear more about it. Basically, from what I can understand, is that just like we register your LLC in New Jersey, so New Jersey knows what's going on. New Jersey doesn't want to get left out of, taking your taxes. It looks like the federal government has finally realized that they want to be in the know as well. Laundering, tax evasion, shell companies, funky stuff being done, I think, with LLCs around the country. The federal government now wants to know that you exist and that you are doing business. So it looks like this is going to be an extra step that we're going to have to take when you form post 2024. When you form business, you'll register your business in New Jersey, and you'll have to go through this last step to file a report with the federal government, basically saying who you are and who owns what percent of shares in your business. Now, from what I understand, it's something you're going to have to check in every year. Again, still learning a little bit more about it. That link right there goes to the straight to the source. There's, I think, a little video that is going to describe what you have to do. Sounds like anybody who has an LLC prior to 2024 will have the year to go in and get this done. So we'll have plenty of time to get the word out. But you will have to get in there at some point, file this report, and then we'll have to see, it's an annual thing. Do we do it on the anniversary of the initial filing? And basically, it's a way to, I think, avoid um, hiding income from your federal tax obligations. So prior to forming your LLC, there are certain things that you need to have. One, you'll need to have a unique business name in New Jersey. There's the link to search to see if your name is unique enough. It's pretty user friendly. Sometimes, even if you just tweak a word or a letter or add, something a little, different, you can get away with using the name that you want. But it does have to be unique. You'll need your EIN. Again, we get that from the irs.gov. That is free. You'll need to have your NICS codes and your New Jersey industry codes. The NICS system basically is a system that allows the state, the government, to know what industry you are in. It's for statistical purposes on this level. They have an opportunity to see what new businesses are forming, what industries are growing. And so through the registration process, that's where you're prompted to put the codes in. There's a little link. You can go on, we can look, we can see what best identifies your business. Same with the New Jersey industry codes. The registered agent. Most small businesses may choose to choose themselves as the registered agent, or you may hire a registered agent. It's up to you. A registered agent is a requirement. It must be in New Jersey. Every business must have a physical location where mail can be delivered, legal documents can be delivered. It's a New Jersey physical location. Now, again, I often recommend that if you're your own business, your small business, you can just put yourself, you are allowed to put yourself down as the registered agent. The mail will come to you, no issues. Sometimes people don't want to have their home address out there because it is on record. You can use a third party service. There's a couple that we can guide you to. Could cost, I've seen it as low as $49 a year to hire a registered agent. You don't need all the bells and whistles. You're going to be responsible for your own LLC. You're going to be responsible for your own filing your annual reports, but you can pay them for the minimum, which is basically giving you the opportunity to have a physical address in New Jersey, and they will take your mail, scan it, and electronically deliver it to you, or maybe you pick it up. It depends on the system. The other option is if you want to use a P.O. box, you are allowed to. However, it has to be associated with a post office that has a street address and a physical location. If you're more than one person, you need an operating agreement. Multi member LLCs require an operating agreement. Someone may never ask for it and you may never have to show anybody, but it is the law. Very often, a bank, when you're opening up your business bank account, if it's more than one owner, they're going to ask to see your operating agreement, or at least they're going to want to know you have one that exists. If you're dealing with maybe a third party or a vendor, or you're getting into some financial business with somebody else, another business, they may want to see that you have an operating agreement. A lawyer is optional. The best thing about the importance of an operating agreement is that you want to, at a minimum, establish with your other owners who is responsible for what. How much money is everybody putting into this business? How much money are we sharing in terms of profit sharing? If we were to dissolve tomorrow, who gets what? How are the assets going to be separated? So, this is all very important. Hopefully, you never have to go back to it. But I've seen many situations where a company, it's mostly when you dissolve is where the problems can come about, and there might be questions on how to basically break out the assets. So if you can spell that out, even if you do it without a lawyer and you sign it, it's protection. Debit or credit card is allowed for the online payment. 125 plus the 350 processing fee. You are also allowed to use an e-check. You'll oops, you'll need your names, addresses, and social security numbers of all the owners, and you'll have to have established the percentage of the ownership, because that does get outlined in the registration. Okay, so other things you might need to know. Well, when you're on the registration page, when we're actually registering the business, once again, that's when you choose how you wish to be taxed. You'll also need to know if the sale of your goods and or services are subject to New Jersey state sales tax, and if you're eligible to make exempt purchases. If you are selling a consumer good that is subject to state sales tax, you have to indicate that on your registration. You'll get a sales certificate of authority as a result, and that gives you the ability to charge sales tax. The government knows that you're selling, say, books. The state knows they expect you to collect tax on that sale if you're selling to somebody within New Jersey. And they expect you then quarterly to remit the sales tax back to the state. It's a fairly simple process. It's all done online. Believe through the Division of Revenue and Enterprise Services. There's just pages and pages of information and where to go. And with something we can always help you with, especially if you haven't done it before. Basically, it's understanding when and where to charge sales tax. You only charge sales tax if first of all, if the good or the service is subject to sales tax. And you can only do it if that um, sale or the service is in New Jersey. If you're an online seller of goods and you sell a product to Pennsylvania, you cannot charge the Pennsylvania recipient of the goods New Jersey sales tax. It would just go as is. Now, the reason why it's important to understand this is that sometimes you think services aren't subject to sales tax, but they are. For example, house cleaning services are subject to state sales tax. And then there are certain goods that aren't subject to sales tax, such as clothing. And it depends on the clothing. It has to be the basic apparel. When you start getting into accessories like boots, well, certain kind of boots, or belts and scarves, those items are subject to sales tax. Additional registrations and certifications are important. Certain businesses require other steps. General contractor has to have a general contractor registration. If you're a home health aide, there's a license for that. There are workers' compensation requirements if you hire employees. And there are insurance thresholds for certain industries. So all of that can be found through the Business Action Center. There's information there. And again, it's something we can help you with to make sure you're all set up properly. You'll also want to make sure that you identify where you want to open up your business bank account. Never pay dues. You shouldn't have to. Your small business. Find a bank that will work with you, maybe where you personally do business, or banks that are really geared toward small businesses that want your business. They will usually have some sort of a program where you're not paying any kind of monthly dues or payments. These are some of the links that are going to be important as business owners. When you fill out your survey at the end of the presentation, you get access to this presentation. You'll have access to these links. Good to familiarize yourself with them. Again, it's the licenses, additional registrations, sales tax requirements. There's a book that basically tells you what is subject to sales tax in New Jersey and what isn't. If you are getting to a point where you are required to pay estimated income tax, there's information there about how to go about that. Always best to consult with your accountant when it comes to that, I think. And then if you have questions about payroll, the differences between a W-2 versus a W-9, these are things that we counsel on, we discuss. Basically, your W-2, W-4 payroll is employees on the books, payroll taxes. The W-9 form that you will have somebody fill out if you're going to hire them is an independent contractor. At the end of the year, you'll issue a 1099 in their name or their business's name. And that is another way about going to get assistance with your business. So you can either have an employee on payroll or you can have an independent contractor relationship. And then just FYI, in terms of the Small Business Development Center, we are counselors, business mentors. We like to think about you as a whole. We can counsel you on what your startup needs might be in terms of your cash, your initial contributions to the business. We can flush that out, help you think about that through business planning. Uh, what will you need to keep your business flowing? That's through your operating cash needs. What are your own personal budget considerations in terms of your capital contribution? Will you need additional sources of capital? Do you feel you might need to go and get a small business loan or look for a grant in your field to maybe help with initial working capital expenses or machinery, equipment? We do get into loan preparation. Our counselors will be able to help you write your plan, help you understand what it is you need to present to the lender in terms of your projections, in your income projections, making sure you understand your financial statements, and also bookkeeping. Again, QuickBooks is a great tool. You don't have to use QuickBooks, Excel spreadsheets, a notebook, a general ledger, whatever best works for you. But it is important that you are organized, you understand the financial terms. Most business owners are not necessarily financially savvy when it comes to accounting and finance. Nothing wrong with that. That's not me, trying to make anybody feel bad. It's not maybe what you studied. Maybe you're, an expert at something and you want to start a business. It's time now to take a little bit of a business class. There's lessons, there's webinars, there's all tons of free resources out there, especially through our services, to basically get some financial literacy so that you can succeed and understand the financial end of running a business. And then lastly, or almost lastly, we can discuss other um, potential needs that your business may at some point require. An accountant, uh, at some point, maybe not a bad idea to speak to an accountant if you have questions about taxes, the deductions that you can take as a small business owner. It changes. Accountants are generally up to speed on what types of write-offs are allowed with a small business. Lawyers, I feel like when it comes to a lawyer, you don't have to, but if you feel that a lawyer would be helpful when you're trying to put an operating agreement, if it's complicated, I would suggest maybe seeking out a lawyer. When it gets to intellectual property and trademarks, copyrights, that gets complicated. I suggest always looking for a lawyer, try to find a small business lawyer with a limited set price to do, say, a trademark. You want to make sure it's done correctly. It could be very costly if you don't do it right. So that's sometimes where I would recommend the lawyer. Usually an insurance agent, if you have questions on your level of insurance, if you need insurance, talk to us first always, but they're always happy to sit down with you, I believe, and kind of lay it out for you. They want your business. They'll explain. Maybe get a couple of opinions there. And then if it ever comes time where you need to speak to a lender, definitely reach out to us. We have tons of relationships with SBA lenders, small business lenders. We have a capital team, really dedicated to getting deals done when they get more complicated and larger. We have marketing, social media strategists, counselors on hand. We want to be business mentors. And I should add here, and I'm going to have to add this to my slide, we have Spanish speaking counselors. If anybody wants any of this presented in Spanish, please, by all means, you can request that. We're happy to accommodate. And we do state certifications. We can walk you through that if you want to become a woman owned, minority owned, veteran, disabled veteran, LGBTQ plus, and also just the small business enterprise certifications. We can walk you through that process. We can talk about procurement, and NJEDA has been a tremendous resource for New Jersey with so much going on there. Always good to maybe look to see what's going on there, and we can help you with those applications. everything through the NJSBDC. So this is the end of the formal presentation. I'm going to have this slide up for a little bit. I just want to explain it before I turn it back over to Uzma for Q&A. If you are not in business at all and you have not formed and registered, you'll want to scan or click when you get the presentation, the top set of links and QR codes. That will then get directed toward our new business starts. We'll be able to get you in, form, register your business, get it all taken care of. If you are already in business and you have questions on a number of other things that maybe was discussed today, you want to pair up with your counselor, go right ahead. The bottom is the QR code and the link. You'll go to your designated SBDC center. You'll get assigned to a counselor, and hopefully your questions can be answered. The last thing I want to say as well, and I am going to pull up the slide shortly. What's on a slide, actually? It's a flyer. We will be doing business starts in person on December 11th in Morristown. And we are through FDU, Fairleigh Dickinson University. The NJSBDC will be there. There's a location that has been set up. It'll be at 2:00. We would need you to register, but if you want to come in person, sit in a classroom setting, have maybe additional questions answered, there will be an in-person opportunity. We're going to try to run these once or twice a month in different parts of the state. So perhaps if you'd like to do it in person, that's an option. Otherwise, it is something that can be done over the phone, and we're happy to accommodate you that way as well. And with that, I'm just going to briefly just show you what, oh, maybe I won't. How do I do this? Here we go. This is the slide or the PDF. You can always, if you are interested in doing the in-person, when you register for counseling as a new business start, you can say that you're interested in this, and we'll make sure we get this information. It'll also be shared through our network and through LinkedIn and other marketing. Okay. With that, I'm going to turn it back over to you, Uzma.
Awesome. That was hopefully a very helpful and valuable presentation. Thank you, Vanessa, for doing this for us, as always. Before we move on to the Q&A session, just a reminder to everybody that yes, we do offer our services in Spanish. We offer our assistance counseling. Most of our network webinars or events can be offered in Spanish as well. So please feel free to reach out, whether if you want to register your business or you would like to receive counseling for something else. Feel free to reach out and request counseling. If you are reaching out to speak to Vanessa, please go to the first link and refer to this webinar or just Business Start webinars. If you are already in business and you would like to get counseling for marketing, accounting, financing, QuickBooks, anything like that, reach out to us via that link, and those links have been shared in the chat. So feel free to do that. Another reminder, this webinar has been recorded. It will continue to be recorded until the end, and you can view the recording in 1 to 2 business days on our website or on our socials. And what else? Survey. Our survey is available in a link in the chat that has been shared already. If you just scroll up a little bit, and right as you submit that survey via Google Forms, once you click submit, you will receive the link on the next page. All right, that's enough from me. Let's move on to Q&A. Vanessa, are you ready?
Yep.
Awesome. So we'll go in the order that we received them. The first one is from Christine. Thank you for the question, Christine. How do I schedule a call to set up my LLC? All right, I can answer that question. Christine, if you can leave your email, I got your name, but if you can just put your full name and the email that you registered um, in the website with us, leave that to me just in the chat below. Just reply to me or Vanessa. We'll get your information and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Apologies for the delay. From Anonymous, we have, how do you remove your home address from sites such as Wikipedia when you work from home and do not have a brick and mortar business address after registering or forming your LLC? PO boxes are not allowed. If a registered agent is hired, this doesn't prevent your home address from being published.
Oh, okay. So if you want to change what you've done already and make sure that you don't have your home address, then there are several places. The We'll start with the registered agent. So the registered agent, you like I said, you could do a PO box as long as it's at a post office, or you could hire a New Jersey registered agent to serve that purpose for you. But also the in the formation of the LLC, there is a place to have a business address. Now, if you're a home-based business, many people would put their home address there. You can also use your PO box for that. And the process to changing everything is just filing an amended filing. It's called amending your certificate of formation. It's all done through the portal, and you can go and you can make those changes right online. If you have
Okay.
further questions about that, you can always talk, but check out that NJ portal. It's called, unfortunately, New Jersey charges to amend the LLC, the actual certificate of formation, any information on there is the New Jersey charge is $100. If you just want to change your registered agent, then the charge is $25 to change your registered agent.
Got it. Thank you. Hopefully that answers your question, Anonymous. If not, please feel free to drop some more details or clarifications in the chat or the Q&A. Moving on to the next question from Manuel. Can a sole proprietorship business sign contract with the government, other LLC, and or corporations?
Um, I I don't see why. You mean sign a contract? Oh yeah, you mean okay, I'm guessing like say to be hired, to get contracted out if you're just a sole proprietor. Yes, of course you can. It's a W-9. You'll fill in your name or your trade name. You'll fill in your social security number if you have an EIN. The only time that's well, no, actually, it really shouldn't. It depends. Now, if the it depends on the person who's even looking for the contracting. For example, if you're sometimes there are certain when it comes to warehousing and distribution and trucking and all that's like where we talked about where the liability is a little bit more, there could be rules in place that they'll only these contractors are only really interested in doing business with a company that has either an LLC or have been incorporated because of that. But generally speaking, if there's no stipulation, a sole proprietor can certainly do business with anybody who wants to hire them.
All right. And if
Oh, I just
you,
want to add there though, when it comes,
yes, go
sorry,
ahead.
sorry, when it comes to doing business with the government though, sometimes the government is going to be more partial depending on how large the contracts are, they're going to be partial to the corporations and the LLCs because it's it just is. It's generally considered more structured. You have more access and ease of getting capital from whether it be a line of credit or a loan or just your terms of your cash position when you're a LLC or a corporation. There might be some trepidation doing business with the sole proprietor because you're not going to necessarily have as much capitalization as a sole proprietor. You may not have access or ease to capital as some of the bigger, more structured folks are. So depending on it, all depends on who's seeking out the work and what they're looking for.
All right, moving on to the next question. Oh, by the way, we have a lot of procurement and certifications webinars already in our video library. So if you go to our website, the link has been shared in the chat. If you go to the website or if you go to our YouTube channel, then you'll just have to scroll and type up, certain words. Like if you're looking for procurement, then, type that and you'll find those webinars, especially like, how to obtain minority certificate business, things like that. And we continue to do webinars like that. So just a plug in, if you fill out the survey, then we can definitely help you answer questions like that. And just keeping in mind, this is how to register a business webinar. So if there are any questions, and Vanessa, feel free to add in, but if there are any other, detailed questions that we get, then we can certainly address them in a counseling session rather than the webinar. All right, so we have a question from Teresa. I tried to go on and apply for an LLC and I made a few errors and I have not been able to get this completed. It seems like there is always an error and it tells me to come back. I even tried to redo it. It doesn't seem possible. Can someone help me closely with this?
Yeah, definitely. Just scan that top for new formations and registrations because we'll go back in and kind of see what happened, what went wrong, and get you straightened.
Yep, we can walk you through them. Next question is from Nikita. I currently reside in Houston, Texas. If I were interested in creating an LLC in another state, let's say New Jersey, what are the pros and cons? Interesting question.
Well, I'd have to know a little bit more information about your situation. I assume you want to form an LLC in New Jersey, living in Texas, because there's business, a sufficient amount of business that you'd like to transact within New Jersey. Otherwise, I don't know that there's no benefit. There's a very limited benefit in forming an LLC out of your home state if you're not doing business in the state you're forming the LLC in. It's not like corporations where, sometimes you'll hear, oh, we want to incorporate in Delaware because the tax, better taxes, because different states may have different corporate tax filings and rules and regulations. LLCs are state specific. And if you live and work within a state, that is where you would want to form your LLC. Now, there's definitely reasons why you would need to have potentially form in another state. Like, for example, if we live in New Jersey and you have a real estate investment in Florida and you it's a rental, yeah, you have to register that LLC in Florida. And because you're transacting the business in Florida and you're collecting the rental income. Or if you're doing business in Texas and you're working, but you know you want to do business, stay with Rutgers University, and you want to work with a public institution within the state, they're going to require you to form what is known as a foreign LLC. Foreign means that you are outside of New Jersey. So you may be registered to do business in Texas, but because you want to transact business in New Jersey with a state funded institution, then they will require you to apply for a foreign LLC and register your Texas business in New Jersey. It can get complicated. Something that you definitely may want to speak about, maybe offline. I hope that answers your questions for now.
Got it. Vanessa, if you can show the PDF again. We have a question from Robin who's asking where they can register for the December 12th event.
Absolutely. Let me shift there. Go there.
Mm,
Can you see it?
yes, I can see it.
You could scan right here. And keep up both.
There we go. Also, if you just go to our website, njsbc.com, and you go to events, I believe that's what it's called. Whether it's network events or state events, state office events or webinars, then you can definitely go and register through those links, or you go to our Eventbrite page, excuse me, and you can also register there. Please note that because this is an in-person event, you have to bring your own laptop. You must have your credit or debit card to pay online, filing fee of $128. Because Vanessa and our team will be helping you register, like actually register there. So definitely helpful if that's what you're interested in. And if you have any questions, please email us. So whether you email events@njsbc.com or the email listed there, Vanessa's email, go ahead and let us know if you have any questions. All right, so there are a couple of questions that require an in-depth answer. Unfortunately, we can't take up a lot of time here in the webinar because we like to keep questions strictly to how to register. So I will recommend if we're not answering them, that means that requires a counseling session. And our answer to that is going to be, please go and register, request counseling. Okay, I'll ask you this question, Vanessa, and you can let us know if that requires a counseling session. After choosing how you would prefer to be taxed, can you later switch your choice?
Yes, easy answer. Yes, you can always switch how you wish to be taxed. So that's easy.
All right. Robert asks, what is the total cost to form and register a business? And he states $128 for the formation fee, $75 for yearly fee, and $125 for registration fee, equals to $328 total upfront cost. Is that correct? Do we have a slide with the total cost? But we mentioned it in our sessions before.
I'm sorry if that wasn't clear. It's $128 one time. That's it to form your LLC. That's it, one time. Every year on the anniversary of your formation, your $75 by that date is due. So it's once a year, annual dues of $75, one-time formation fee of $128.
All right. Thank you for that question, Robert.
So I'm sorry. So and that $75 is not due to the 12 months later. So just like the cash you have to come up with right now, 128.
Yes. And that's every year, annual fees.
Yes.
Perfect. Then we have a question from Shelley who says, is business insurance a requirement for an LLC in New Jersey?
Well, If you're a single member, you're the owner, you don't have to insure yourself as an owner. If you start hiring people, even if they're just independent contractors, you really need to get workers' compensation. If you are the single owner and you're doing something like in the general contracting or handyman business, certain industries do have minimum requirements for insurance to carry. So it all depends on what you're doing. But your run of the mill single member owner of an LLC does not need to insure itself. You're covered by that LLC. Employees makes a difference, independent contractors makes a difference, and what it is you're doing. So you have to think about your liability. For example, if you own a retail location, it's a brick and mortar, and you're downtown, and you have people coming in and out. There's a general amount of insurance that you're going to want to carry for, God forbid, someone slips and falls in your shop. So yes, I mean, business insurance is important for just for the risk of any kind of, God forbid, lawsuit or even damage. So I would always suggest that you look into getting business insurance, um, or at least inquire about it, depending on what you're doing.
All right, hopefully that answers your question. Um, all right, we have a question from Jacqueline. That's a good question. I have recently formed my business as an LLC. I am the registered agent, a single owner. I don't like to receive all the mail. Is it possible to change to select a registered agent? And as a
Absolutely.
sing
Oh, go ahead. Keep going.
and as a single owner of the LLC, how do I know what reports need to be filed?
Okay, so change the registered agent on the NJ portal. No problem. $25 to change your registered agent. You can hire you can there are services out there that will serve as your registered agent at a cost. You want to get one that has no, bells and whistles with it. You just want them to be serve as the address and to handle your mail. In terms of what your responsibilities are, every year at the anniversary, so you should receive a notification from the state that your $75 are due. When you're no longer your own registered agent, remember that mail is going to the third party. So hopefully they're doing their job correctly and you're seeing everything that's coming in the mail. You have to be very careful about what comes in the mail. A lot of it is garbage. Uh, you don't you don't have to take your wallet out again to maintain your LLC until you reach the year anniversary of when you formed. And that's when your annual dues are due. $75. That's it, paid directly to New Jersey. Sometimes you'll see solicitations from third party who say, "Hey, your annual dues are due." It looks really official and it's scary, and they want you to pay $150. Otherwise, you're going to be, in trouble. No, they are charging you the 150 to pay your $75. You can pay your $75 yourself right online, but you have to know when that's coming. And the way to know that's coming is to read your mail, or you should get a notification if you've signed up to get it through email, is that you'll be notified maybe about 60 days before your formation anniversary saying, "Hey, you're coming up on your annual dues. These are the instructions." Everything gets done through the NJ portal. And once again, it's called filing an annual report. It is nothing except paying your dues. They ask a couple of questions. Are you still in business? Yes. What's going on? Basically, here, please put your credit card information in. This has all to do with maintaining an LLC in good standing and keeping it legally running as a business entity. This is completely separate than any obligations or requirements you have as a income taxpayer through federal income tax requirements and state income tax requirements. That is separate. It's also separate from whether you are also required to remit sales tax. If there's a, remember, we said if there's anything that you're doing that requires you to collect New Jersey state sales tax, separately from maintaining your LLC in good standing, you are required to remit any sales tax you've collected over the quarter. And again, it's also separate from additional regulations the state may impose based on the industry you're in. We're in a regulated state. You want to be a general contractor, you have to have a contractor's registration. If you want to be a home health aide or even just like a visiting friend, if just, sometimes it's not, no, it's not medical. Why do I need a home health aide license? I'm just going there to make lunch and to be, to have conversation. You're required to have that license. Um, Other licenses are for waste disposal. There's certain things that you have to do. It's all outlined on the New Jersey government pages. Trying to think of some other ones that are common. All sorts of things you have to do if you want to operate truck or like a transportation business. So you just have to make sure there isn't anything specific to what you're doing. Also, food safety, food certification, if you're handling food. So that's all separate.
All right, moving on to the next question. Chona asks, if I have an LLC and want to do more than one type of business using the same name, is that allowed? Or can I use a different name with the LLC, DBA? What's the
Yes. You can run multiple businesses under your LLC umbrella. That's no problem. The only time that becomes a problem is if the risks and the liabilities associated with the different businesses are not really complementary. You wouldn't want to do a real estate investment under your LLC umbrella and then run your Uber business under your LLC umbrella because, God forbid, get into an accident and now your real estate property is gone. So that's when you would elect to have a separate LLC. But your run of the mill businesses that say, for the differences of maybe marketing, that's where the alternate business name comes in. Say you want to have a retail jewelry business under your LLC umbrella and you're doing retail and you want to be referred to as Vanessa's jewelry business, and that way people know you're in jewelry, and that's how you can market yourself. You can have a DBA. And say you have a tutoring business under the same LLC umbrella and you want to market yourself as my tutoring, Vanessa's tutoring. And so you're allowed to have multiple business names under your LLC umbrella. And the alternate business name, it costs $50 for 5 years to have what you would refer to as a DBA. In New Jersey, it's called filing an alternate business name. So it's relatively inexpensive. And you just alert the bank that, hey, I'm also going by this name. So if, say, a check were to be made out to your alternate business name, they'll accept the check into your business bank account.
All right, next question is from Madeline. And Madeline asks, can I have my LLC in New Jersey, excuse me, and work with my LLC in New York and Connecticut?
Can you repeat that?
Yes. Can I have my LLC in New Jersey? And I'm assuming they also have LLCs in their own LLCs in New York and Connecticut. If they're asking if they can also have one in New Jersey.
Is it the same LLC or separate LLCs? That's what I'm not.
Hmm.
If you're saying, can I have my LLC in New Jersey, but
Okay,
also,
Natalie, we need
yeah,
you
maybe she
to
needs to
clarify your
clarify
question.
if they're separate or the
Yes.
same.
Okay. So once you clarify, once you add on to the question, let us know. Okay, wait, we have something. Is that her? Nope, wrong person. Okay. Natalie, if you're still here, please clarify. Thank you. Vijay asks, do we need citizenship to open an LLC?
No, you don't need citizenship, um, but you do need. It's not my area of expertise. You need a tax ID number. So as long as you have, I believe it's the ITIN. You don't have to have a social security number, but you have to have a tax ID number, personal tax ID number that you can use to apply for an EIN. Um, and you certainly need some form. If you're living here, I don't want to get too much into the weeds. This is something I'd rather talk about maybe offline because
Yeah,
I don't want to say something that is wrong.
yeah,
So I'm going to pass on that, I think.
yeah.
But you don't need
So
to be a US, you don't need to be a citizen per se. You can certainly, but you do need to have certain documentation and a tax ID number and a
got it.
residence.
So the answer to that, Vijay, is let us get back to you on that. Why don't you, if you're not already registered, why don't you request counseling and refer to the webinar, say you need to speak to Vanessa, and this goes up to everybody. If you are registering to request counseling to speak with Vanessa, please indicate that in the registration process. That will make it, that will help us streamline the process and make it much easier for you and us both. Um, and okay, so Madeline responded and the question about, LLC in New Jersey and New York and Connecticut. And they said same LLC, they work in different state. And the question is if they can work with the same LLC in different state.
Yes, you definitely can. And what you would do is you have to then just register. You take your New Jersey, say it's a home based New Jersey domestic LLC, it's New Jersey, but you want to then register to do business in Connecticut, New York. You go to their government webs, their state websites, and you register your LLC as a foreign in Connecticut and New York. So you're foreign to Connecticut and New York, domestic to New Jersey, and they have their own procedures for doing that. We have that here as well. There are people who are registered as, say, Pennsylvania. Like we talked about this, even the Texas example. They're registered in a different state. They want to register to do business in New Jersey. They go to the portal. They the drop down menu says, "What do you want to do?" I want to register as a New Jersey foreign LLC. I believe it also costs $128, and you can go ahead and take your LLC from a different state and register as a foreign to do business in New Jersey. Not everybody has to do that. There are certain reasons why you would or wouldn't. It depends on a couple of things. But if you're physically going to be present and working and operating and have a location, you do have to be registered. You do have to be registered. Sometimes when it has to do more with selling of goods online or counseling or consulting where it gets a little gray. Sometimes that has more to do with the threshold of volume of work that you're doing in the foreign state. And sometimes it has to do with whether you are dealing with or selling to a state run organization. I used Rutgers or Kane University as an example. They have certain requirements that they're only allowed to contract out with New Jersey registered businesses. So if say, your t-shirt business is in Pennsylvania and they want to buy your goods, you're going to have to take the time to register as a foreign in New Jersey to contract with a state sponsored or funded organization.
All right, we're gonna take two more questions. One is from Nikita, and I think I can help you answer this question, Nikita. What was the $0 fee for in registering our business. You guys assist, but not the actual cost, correct? All right. So for example, you see the flyer with that Vanessa is sharing on her screen on the left. So the process of you attending that event, the process of Vanessa walking you through on how to register your business, the online steps, all of that, that's at no cost. So those are our services that are at no cost. However, like Vanessa has mentioned, and like as we mentioned in the bold bullet point, second bullet point, must have credit or debit card to pay online, filing fee of $128 to state of New Jersey. We cannot cover that for you. You have to cover that on your own. So our services, what like these webinars, like our counseling services, they're free. All our counseling services across the network, New Jersey network, they're free. And SBDC is a nationwide program, funded by the SBA. So in any state, all the counseling services are going to be free. Now, whether the events or the trainings, whether those are at cost, minimal cost, they vary. That's a different thing. So for example, you're attending this webinar, that's at no cost to you. So I hope that answers your question. We cannot legally cover that fee.
Well,
We
that's
cannot
your
legally
own.
charge you for the counseling services.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right, Uzma. The 128 is if you were to do it yourself, say you were home, you're going to be at the end of the process forming an LLC in New Jersey. The state, there's a charge. That's how much
Mhm.
it costs to go into business. $128.
Awesome. Last question. We are reaching our 1:30 p.m. mark. So the last question we'll take is from Anonymous, who asked, I have a cleaning company and I registered with the PO box, but Sam rejected it. Since then, I've moved to New York City, but still operate in New Jersey. So what are my options to register my business under a new address? Do I need a virtual address or can I use my New York City home address since I am the registered agent?
You cannot have a non-New Jersey address as a registered agent. That's the whole point. The registered agent has to be in New Jersey. Um, I'm trying to, and I apologize, I was trying to follow what the issue was. You were using, was you mentioned Sam was at the state for the contracting.
They did mention Sam, yes.
So that application, I'd have to look at that application to see if there's a stipulation for PO boxes. Like for the registered agent, again, PO box has to have, you can have a box, but you have to have a location. So like a street address, a number, and a name of a street. Registered agents for New Jersey have to physically be in New Jersey. So I don't, okay, if you could just repeat the last part of the question about her living in New York, that's where I'm a little confused.
All right. I'm just going to have to scroll a little since I did mark that. Okay, wait, I have it here. Have a cleaning company registered with a PO box, but Sam rejected it. Since then, moved to New York City, still operate in New Jersey. What are my options to register my business under a new address? Do I need a virtual address or New York City home address is fine since they're a registered agent?
So if she's operating in New Jersey and she's
So I'm sorry, Vanessa. They when you asked for contracts, they did say yes, it is for contracts. I was told I couldn't use a PO box for the SAM registration. I lived in New Jersey and moved to New York City.
I think I'm just going to take this one offline.
Yep.
I think that would be better.
Yeah.
She should register because I'm trying to understand the timing and but I mean basically you just have to understand that if you have an LLC that is a New Jersey domestic LLC your registered agent has to be in New Jersey. You don't have to live in New Jersey. You don't have to have your physical, like, your house doesn't have to be, but your registered agent has to be in New Jersey.
Yep. All right. So as I said, we are getting close to our end of the webinar time, and we do appreciate our audience sticking with us up until now. We can't take any more questions, unfortunately, but please, we don't want to leave anyone hanging. So please go and register. We just, we can't do in-depth question and answer just because we want to address everyone's questions. So if the question requires a detailed answer, please go to njsbdc.com/startup. And please ask to speak to Vanessa. Let me just quickly show everyone, won't take up much of your time, on what websites we're talking about. So we're here at njsbdc.com. I just went and typed that into my search bar. And the first page that you see in a red hot button is request counseling, right? That's what we need. But this is general counseling. Please remember that. So if you have any questions or you would like to speak to someone for a regional center, then you can select your county for any topics other than business starts or registration. If you would like to speak to Vanessa, then you would have to go to njsbdc.com/startup. We talk about a video library. That's exactly this one. Events, NJ Thrive small business webinars. We have tons of videos here, tons on whether it's marketing, SBIR, SCTR grants, if you're into the tech space, innovation, R&D, if you want to know how to use AI, if you want to know how to use marketing strategies for the upcoming holiday season, or procurement, right? Or contracts of effective staff management, things like that. Everything, you keep clicking load more and more webinars will show up. And you can also go and view all upcoming events. And that's how you will also be able to see the upcoming webinars that we have with Vanessa. So that is all from us for today's session. And let me just quickly go to our slides at the end. Yep, this is what we have. So no webinar on Thursday because of course Thursday is Thanksgiving, and we're off that day. Hopefully you are too. And so on Thursday sorry, I'm just looking at my calendar. On Thursday we have Thanksgiving. On Friday it's Black Friday. On Saturday it's Shop Small Business Saturday. So we're taking a break, and I hope you are too. Vanessa, I hope you are too. And we'll definitely catch up again on Tuesday, November 28th. We look forward to having you there. In the meantime, we wish you a happy Thanksgiving and have a good break, everyone.
Yes,
See you next time.
I just want to say thank you and happy Thanksgiving, and just give us, don't worry if you don't hear right away. We'll make sure that we get back to everybody who registers at some point. I know this is a tough week with Thanksgiving, but I hope everybody has a wonderful Thanksgiving, and thanks again, Uzma, for everything.
Of course. Thank you. We're signing off. Please have a good break. Enjoy, eat lots of good food. And we'll see you next Tuesday. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.